Hi guys, Hannah here from Hannahmariaplans, and today I want to do a thorough review of the notebook I'm just completing, which is the Archer & Olive A5 sized dot grid notebook. I've been using this notebook since the end of September, so about 6 months now, and I feel like I have a really good handle on how this notebook performs and the pros and the cons of it at this point. So I wanted to share that information with all of you. So starting with the outside of the notebook, I love the look of the Archer & Olive with the block colours on the cover and the little gilded design in the top centre. I also love this teal colour. I think it's such a soft and soothing turquoise, and the journals themselves come in a variety of colours and designs, including celestial themes, flowers, feathers and loads more. Unfortunately, I don't feel the cover has held up particularly well over the 6 months that I've used this journal, despite mainly using it with a separate cover since November. It is made of fabric rather than the faux vegan leather that a lot of journals use, which means it gets dirty really quickly and you can't just wipe it clean. The gold bumblebee also seems to have faded or rubbed off a bit, which I think is a real shame, and I think the edges of the journal itself are quite battered. In saying that though, it has protected all of the pages, which I guess is the most important thing. I have the A5 size, which measures approximately 15 by 21 centimetres, which is just your standard size for most regular notebooks. I love this size because I find it really convenient for carrying around everywhere, but I believe Archer & Olive do also create a B5 notebook which is a little bigger. There is a pen loop, elastic closure, and 2 bookmarks, as well as a good sized back interior pocket. The notebook itself is actually quite heavy, which I like because it feels sturdy and good quality, but this might not work so well for you if you really like carting it around everywhere, every day. The inner cover has the Archer & Olive logo with an area to write down your name and details, and the back cover is blank with the internal pocket that you have already seen. This notebook has 160 pages which are not numbered, and other than the initial starting page has no specialty pages such as an index or a key. Although there is of course space for you to create those if you wish. It lies flat when you open it, which I really like to have in a bullet journal because it makes creating those spreads that much easier. The paper in this notebook is 160 GSM, which is very thick, uncoated, bright white in colour, and has a 5mm dot grid, which is the standard size of dot grid. This means it has 30 squares up and down and 26 squares across a single page. I have not done a specific pen test page, but I have of course tested different mediums thoroughly just by using the journal for the last 6 months, and I'll talk about those as we go. So a lot of you will have seen these pages from my Instagram page, but I think it is nice to be able to see them all filled in because it gives you a much better idea about how I use my journal and how I make the spreads work for me. I'll leave links to any videos I have showing how I made some of these spreads so you can watch them once you've finished with this video. Whilst we're flipping, I'm actually going to talk about how I found working in this journal more. It was advertised by so many people as the best for watercolour in a journal, so I was obviously really excited to try it out. It initially held up when I used thick concentrated pigment without much water, but when I painted my first proper piece I knew I was going to have problems, which I was absolutely gutted about. This spread caused me such major bleed through that it disturbed what was on the page behind it and almost made it unusable. Because the paper is uncoated, when you apply something wet like watercolour or dip pen and ink, the page will soak it up like a sponge and literally spit it out on the other side. You get some mottling on the side that you are painting on, which isn't the most attractive, and you are left with a really rough paper texture where you have painted. All the pens I used, from fine liners to brush pens, were absolutely fine. And when the watercolour didn't bleed, there were no problems at all with ghosting, which is where you can see faintly through the page onto what you've done on the other side of the page. I knew that for me, this was a deal breaker, and that I wouldn't be using another one of these journals after I'd finished it. And this was before October had even started. So I had literally never stuck pages together in my journal before this one, and I'd never had so many problems with bleeding, even on journals with paper that was less than half the GSM. The paper is also really variable, with some pages performing better than others. Another problem I had is that the dots don't always match across the seam, so if you're trying to do a spread that has a straight line, say going all the way across both of them, you might struggle to have it on the dot on both sides, which is just a really tiny thing, but you'd be surprised at how much that actually did impact me and really grated after a while. Once I moved to using gouache paint rather than watercolour, my issues with bleeding by and large went away, as the gouache seems to sit on top of the page. I slipped up a couple of times where I added too much water, but it mostly worked really well. So when the journal was working, I did love it, but more because I could just get on with using it compared to at the beginning where I felt like I was just battling to get anything down on the paper. The small number of pages and the fact that I had to stick pages together has also meant that I have not got many months in this journal. I started setting it up in September, with the first full month being October, and now we're February, and it's done. So that's only 5 months using about 20 to 25 sides a month. For the price you pay for the journal, that is not enough for me. I paid less for my Leutsch term and always got 9 or 10 months in it, so paying more for less than half the content. I will say that the company's customer service is fantastic, and they reply promptly with any issues that you might have. I guess overall, my thoughts are that this is a beautiful looking journal that works wonderfully with a journal cover to keep the outside looking smart, and would work well for anybody that was not looking to use something like watercolour in it, despite what's advertised on their website and elsewhere across the internet. I think they will remain a really popular journal brand for good reason, but I for one am excited to look at other options out there that will really fit my needs a lot better. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences with this journal, so let me know in the comments down below if you have tried it or if you've been planning on trying it. I'll link this notebook that's available on the Archer and Olive website in the description. And if you're interested in hearing my opinions on some of the other notebooks I've used, which include the Leutsch Term 1917, the Moleskine, or the Dingbats notebooks, let me know and I'll see what I can do over the next few months. And that's it for the review. Join me next time for my new journal setup, but for now, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye guys.